Thank you, and thank you, Neville, for your terrific welcome to country. As you seem to get older, your welcomes get shorter, which is encouraging. To Sue, who's having us here, hosting us today. Terrific, Sue. It's great to be here. This is a marvellous campus, and we're delighted that La Trobe made that investment years ago when it did. To Jenny, I'm actually not going to go through all of the dignitaries here because you're all important, and those of you who think you're more important than others, just feel good now before I move on to our other discussions, but particularly Jenny, who's the face of Shepparton, the multimedia personality that has driven great outcomes for Shepparton as a result of the whole of the SPC Ardmona publicity. Well done, Jenny. You and your council and your spokespersons have been absolute icons in terms of delivering a terrific outcome. I know we'll hear from you, but you've been a great representation of this city and this area. To our Vice-Chancellors, John in particular, who's Vice-Chancellor of this university, but Glyn and Paul Culpin, thank you, because we're going to hear from you about the future of where we're going. There's a couple of apologies that I do want to give. Lois Peeler, who's a trustee of the Fairley Foundation, has had to withdraw at the last minute due to an issue out at Warrawa College where she's the principal. We've also had apologies from Sharman Stone and also from I think Gavin Cator is now unable to come. Let me also acknowledge Jeanette Powell, our former Minister for various things, that retired from the ministry this week because the government saw fit to appoint Tim Bull into those roles to give him some experience for the next period of government. Let me welcome you all, and particularly to welcome those of you who've come a long distance and who are from the philanthropic sector or the trustees of foundations, and to those of you who are involved in the delivery of really important outcomes to Shepparton. Today's genesis really was in 2011 when we formed the view that this was not acceptable, that there were $5 million worth of philanthropic money plus government money going into Shepparton, going into this area, but none of the statistics were moving. Nothing was actually happening. And we, like other foundations, were funding on a palliative basis of 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. There seemed to be no plan. There seemed to be no delivery of what were the important outcomes. So we called a philanthropic forum in 2011, and we got into the room all those foundations that were either aspirant to fund here or were already funding here, and we said, let's see whether we can work out what are the key issues here. And we got a lot of people from the community, and we worked through what were the key issues. What should we be funding? Not the stuff that is nice to have but isn't going to change the game. And that meeting came up with a model that we've now called the Lighthouse Project, but it really stemmed from great work that Jan Carter did in identifying what's happening in Strive Together in Cincinnati. It's about education. It's about making people ready for education. It's about holding them in during education. It's about cradle to career. Everyone ready for primary school. Everyone succeeding in primary school. Everyone making a transition to secondary school. Everyone getting out of secondary school into a post-secondary educational life, and everyone into a career. So we built this model around the Lighthouse Project, and there's now an extraordinary amount of support within this community, and it's growing and it's developing, and it's something that happens iteratively, and I think you're going to hear more about that today. But what's important, when you read that terrible report about where Shepparton is at, you can say, this is awful. Is there a future? Is there a way forward? And the reason that we've asked you to come here today is to show you there actually is a way forward. There are people who are going to talk to us today who are going to talk about what Shepparton can be like, what the Goulburn Valley can achieve in terms of the light on the hill. When I used to spend most of my time here as a young person, this was the most amazing place to live, where you could ride your bike down the street at 8 o'clock at night and not have a worry in the world. And your parents didn't worry about it either. And this is a different place today. We need to reclaim what we had. And you'll hear today what the plans are and what it can be like if we can make, and you can make, the Lighthouse project over a 20-year period, if we can make that work, we can change this place back to what it ought to be and what it deserves to be. So thank you all for your participation. I'm really looking forward to a terrific day where we will come out in the sunlit upland of what Shepparton and the Goulburn Valley is going to be like with your support and your input. So let's get going. Thank you.